the Queen, when she was in her apartment getting ready to go down to the chapel, said to one of her close aides, "Thank goodness Meghan isn't coming."
You can read exclusive extracts from a new book by leading biographer Tom Bower. It's called Revenge, Meghan, Harry and the War Between the Windsors. I've been speaking to Tom about what he's discovered. We began by discussing Prince Philip's funeral.
I think that the revelation is that the Queen, when she was in her apartment getting ready to go down to the chapel, said to one of her close aides, "Thank goodness Meghan isn't coming." And I think that reflected both her own attitude towards Meghan and Harry, but also the thought that she didn't want any diversion from the service, the funeral service for Prince Philip, her husband. So I think that reflects not only the Queen's sentiments about the whole saga, the Harry-Meghan relationship with the royal family, but also her disdain for how Meghan had deflected from attention to the monarchy onto herself. What the book does is follow her life, which is a life of ambition, as I said, but also of some selfishness, a narrative that had to be always around herself, and also a casual attitude to other people who stand in her way, either ghosting her father or dealing with people who were working with her in a rather uncomfortable manner. Some would call it bullying. And I think that's what it shows. It's a study of what she would see as a successful woman, but others might see as a self-destructive woman.
Is there any element of unfairness in how much scrutiny Harry and Meghan actually face in even the publishing of this book, which goes into a lot of detail, as you say, about what has led us to this point? Does anyone really deserve this level of scrutiny and critique from arguably an outside position?
Well, it's a fair question, but I think the answer is yes. I would say that, but I think yes, because they have set themselves up as critics of the royal family. And if you believe in the monarchy in Britain, as I do, then anyone who threatens the good standing of the monarchy, who makes accusations quite openly and willingly, which I think were completely unfair and untrue, then they deserve to be scrutinized, because just like a politician, Meghan and to an extent Harry have set themselves up as judge and jury of the royal family and of Britain.
I want to ask you about the naming of the Sussex's daughter, Lilybet, as well, which is another part of your book that's serialised in the Times today. In terms of how they named their daughter and how even that provoked some tension.
Well, I think the name Lilybet, we all know, was a name given to the Queen when she was born by her grandfather, because she couldn't pronounce her own name properly. I think it was a divisive choice. There was no reason to choose that name other than to provoke irritation. And more to the point, there's great controversy on how the Queen learnt about it from Harry. Was she told or was she asked? The palace seems to suggest that she was told, there was no choice. And the legal action that Harry contemplated, or his lawyers contemplated, against those who broadcast the story quickly evaporated because there was no grounds to it. So I think everything they do, and that's why they deserve scrutiny, is to provoke and to undermine and to challenge. And I think what's interesting for me in writing this book was that it explored how did Meghan, who came from nowhere, who was just an unknown actress, become the world icon? How did that happen?
Just a final one for you, Tom, and it is fascinating to kind of understand and to learn about these things, but I think it's fair to say, isn't it, that so much royal coverage is gossip and speculation from afar. And I just wonder what makes your book different. Why is this not gossip and speculation?
Well, because it's sourced, because you can't imagine how much I didn't print, which was fell under that heading, source and speculation and gossip. The sources are identified. I think there are over nearly 1,000 sources listed. You don't have to read the sources. But I think that I really have worked very hard to make sure that everything is accurate. And I think with my previous book on Prince Charles, which he dismissed and has stood the test of time very well, this book too on Meghan and Harry shows that there's very little which could be classed as gossip. And where it is gossip, it is actually headlined and flagged as gossip. So the reader can be sure that I've checked everything, and on the whole, they're getting, on the whole thing, they're getting the truth, as far as I could tell. Obviously, Meghan didn't want to cooperate, or Harry, and they will undoubtedly find reasons to contradict me, because it's not in their interest often to accept criticism or to accept the revelation of truths which they prefer to remain concealed. But I think that the reader will come away with a vision of Meghan and Harry, which is very different than the one they've been accustomed to so far.